Nirnay IAS by officers for future officers.
Warm welcome to not only your essay ethics answer writing program, but your first class, your first proper lecture with me. This is a first proper lecture with me. You are welcome to it. You will have a very different experience in this program of mine, especially the essay segment of mine. You are also warmly welcome to the Library of Alexandria. You know why I mentioned this as the Library of Alexandria? Why I say the Library of Alexandria? Library of Alexandria was an ancient library at a time where they were the first people, the ancient Greeks were the first people who invested in education. So what they did was, and there was this there was this woman, there was this queen, Hypatia was the uh, a scholar and a genius of a woman, and she had commissioned and she invested a lot of resources in accumulating all the information of the world, all the knowledge of the world. जितनी भी knowledge है उसको accumulate करा, एक library बनाई गई, Library of Alexandria. These are the ruins of that library. It was the first time a government actually invested in accumulating knowledge from all across the world. Okay, that is what the Library of Alexandria was. This is my own attempt at the Library of Alexandria. My study, my room, my discussions will be about everything that I have learned. And as it so happens, एक interesting phenomena ये भी है, कामी गुरप्रीत, कि जो यूपीएससी के एग्जाम में जो ऐसे जिस टाइप के पूछे जाते हैं, they are so broad based and they are so philosophical sometimes that we need a very large network of knowledge in order to answer them properly and in order to have that proper skill of knowing what they talk about and the type of questions they ask. For example, they asked, not all who wander are lost. Not all who wander are lost. I would like to make it clear that I will use some Hindi. But if you are writing the exam, in English, then you have to learn it in English. I must also deliver in English. The content must be in English. Otherwise, how can you expect to write in English? There is no way that you can write in Hindi, in English, if you are explaining stuff and if you are thinking in Hindi. Essay is a highly and deeply expression based thing. You know this. Essay तो एक expression based exercise ही है और उसमें skill का बहुत काम है. And like I've mentioned it before, the UPSC is a language biased exam, I think, especially in the mains. If you do not have command over the language, आप उस level पे नहीं कर सकते जिस level पे आपको वो करना है. I need to have a conversation with you about justice, about beauty, about curiosity, about psychology, about all these things. ये सब जो जितनी भी चीजें हैं ना, ये सब highly, deeply abstract, philosophical नहीं बोलूंगा मैं, academic चीजें हैं. I think ये जो questions UPSC पूछती है, some of them may be from psychology, some of them from ethical, they have an ethical background. जो कुछ भी जितने भी हैं ये gamut, social science का जो the cream of the content of the social science is what they ask. कुछ questions sociology based होते हैं. Some essays are based on sociology. You understand? And they have to be spoken about. For example, one of these days they're going to ask you a question on society. Is India a modern society? They may ask. How is the so there was this question, a few years ago, previous year question essay topic था, dreams that should not let India sleep. Dreams that should not let India sleep. Now, this does not fall into the philosophical point of view. It is a completely different dimension. You need to be able to write about that very holistically, and I don't think that's ideally sociology, but it has to do with a larger perspective जो आपको GS से मिलेगा. तो हमको जो abstract conversations करनी है, the type of things we need to discuss, the type of content which I want you to prepare is abstract. It will have to be understood in English because you have to ultimately write about it in English. Okay, that much is clear. And what I'll tell you something also about my experiences from the previous years. I'll tell you how things will go and you will slowly appreciate, understand what is happening and how we are actually progressing in this teaching, in the teaching of the course. There are, ladies and gentlemen, two important critical things with regards to essay writing. One of those things is the content. शांतिनी, उमांशी, अलीमा, कंटेंट से मेरा मतलब, अगर वो आपसे पूछते हैं क्रिएटिविटी के बारे में, क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं, ऑल हु वॉन्डर और लॉस्ट, एथिकल कोई क्वेश्चन पूछ लिया, कोई ऐसे टॉपिक ऐसा आ गया, तो यू नीड टू नो कि एग्जैक्टली उसका कंटेंट क्या है. वो नॉलेज धीरे धीरे अक्यूमुलेट करी गई है. मतलब फॉर मी इट हैज टेकन इयर्स बिकॉज आई हैपन टू बी इंटरेस्टेड इन द सेम स्टफ. Like for example, the question they asked last year was visionary decision making. Visionary decision making happens at the intersection of intuition and logic. Ab, in order to know about what is visionary decision making, you need to have some idea of management. Management का थोड़ा सा lingo, leadership की थोड़ी सी understanding, intuition versus logic की जो debate है, that oldest debate in the world, the primordial and the most ancient of essay topics, that debate between logic, intuition, or you can call it the conflict between the heart and the mind, they are similar, not the same, but similar. You might also rephrase that as the battle of the brain and the heart. अब ये ancient topic है essay का. This essay topic has been ongoing as a matter of debate, as a matter of intellectual discourse since thousands of years. घूम फिर के कहीं ना कहीं ये जो themes हैं ये आ ही जाते हैं essay paper में. Like for instance, last year when I taught this course, we had a very long discussion about spirituality versus religion. ठीक है, spirituality versus religion is also one of those traditional primordial topics जिसका कोई अंत नहीं है, जिसको हम कभी भी नहीं escape कर सकते. जो एक ऐसे, you talk about essay, there is always that thing, you know, that discussion will always appear in some form or another. You'll find that the discussion about euthanasia appears in some form or another. So these essay topics had to be prepared, and we had that discussion. What the UPSC did was they asked that debate. They asked that debate in a different way. Their question was, उनका question था, history is a series of victories of the scientific man over the romantic man. History is a series of victories of the scientific man over the romantic man. Essentially वो science और religion के बीच में conflict था, जिसका पता होना चाहिए था स्नेहा सानिया, in the sense that कहीं ना कहीं हमको लिखना है कि Copernican revolution हुई थी. Initially people would believe in romantic ideals, in superstitious thinking, in various creation myths. You know, creation myths होते हैं. Mayan culture का अपना creation myth है, Hindu mythology में एक अलग creation myth है. Hindu mythology के हिसाब से the universe started to exist when Brahma had opened his eyes and the entire universe came into existence. अब वो एक creation myth है, mythology है वो. ठीक है, ये कुछ चीजें पता होनी चाहिए हमको. हिस्टोरिकली स्पीकिंग, साइंटिफिक मैन वर्सेस रोमांटिक मैन में क्या हुआ था इतने सालों से, डार्क एजेस हुए थे. देयर वाज अ रेनेसांस, जब नए आइडियाज, साइंस, डिस्कवरी, ये सब चीजें एकदम से, ऑल ऑफ दीज थिंग्स इरप्टेड essentially. We have to mention that a little bit, you know. We have to mention how radically things changed when the Enlightenment happened, when the Renaissance happened, when Newton discovered that the cosmic bodies, the heavenly bodies, which earlier the romantic man used to think were the works of gods, how they were following simple rules of mathematics, how they were functioning on universal rules. That was a fundamental shift in mindset. So ये जो content है, इसके बारे में भी I need to discuss. So we need to do two things. One is the content. The other is how will you write that content. One is the content. The other is how you write that content. How you write that content. Vinita, super important thing, I must tell you. How you write that content is one of the most fundamental things, but not everybody knows this. How you write is mentioned in this. How you write is mentioned in this. This book contains a structure, one type of structure. There are other ways of writing also, apart from what is written in this. बहुत सारे तरीके होते हैं एक ऐसे को लिखने के, बट इसमें जो मेथड डिस्क्राइब्ड है वो एक बहुत अच्छा बिगिनर्स टेम्पलेट है, वो इसी हिसाब से डिजाइन करा था मैंने. आई हैड डिजाइन्ड इट अकॉर्डिंगली. तो व्हाट विल हैपन इज दिस, स्टार्टिंग में, इन द स्टार्टिंग ऑफ दिस प्रोग्राम, हम एक बारी इस टेम्पलेट को एक्सरसाइज करेंगे. वी विल एक्सरसाइज दिस टेम्पलेट properly. You know why? Because it will put us on the right track. After a while, दर्शिनी, शालिनी, एक पॉइंट के बाद हम इसके रूल्स भी तोड़ देंगे. We will break its rules and we will reach a stage where we are creative enough to write our own hooks, to write our own formats, to treat every essay differently. But that has not yet happened. क्यों? जब क्वेश्चन पूछें तो you should know कि क्या लिखना है और कैसे लिखना है. You know? So we will do both things. I will spend some time on this sequence. आज हम थोड़ा सा डिस्कस करेंगे. Today I will give you a brief of that sequence of step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Then I will expect you to do certain practice, and next class onwards we will go deeper and deeper into intellectual conversations. हमको टाइम चाहिए, एक पूरा दिन हमको चाहिए साइकोलॉजिकल टॉपिक्स को डिस्कस करने के लिए, so that when they ask us a psychology topic, say for instance they ask about creativity, personality, intelligence, what is real intelligence, they may ask what do you think is the meaning of genius? Is there a genius in everybody? हमको पूरा एक, we need a discussion, maybe 1 or 2 discussions on that category of topics. We need a whole discussion on ethical topics. If an ethical essay comes, justice delayed is justice denied, suppose, तो we need a discussion on ethical topics. उसके लिए 1 या 2 क्लासेस चाहिए हमको डिटेल में, वो इस बुक में नहीं है. Those are not in this. Those I only cover in my master classes because again, like I said, ये Library of Alexandria का पर्पस यही है, उस टाइप की इंटेलेक्चुअल कॉन्वर्सेशन हम करें ताकि हमारी एक्सप्रेशन इतनी अच्छी हो जाए कि when we know exactly what the content is and simultaneously you guys are practicing and you are polishing your expression constantly. I will go beyond the content. We will have classes on the psychological topics, we'll have classes on ethical topics, we'll have classes on the idea of time, temporal dimension एक होती है, उसके बारे में डिटेल में डिस्कशन हो रही कि अगर टाइम पे फोकस है कोई टॉपिक, जैसे फॉर इंस्टेंस दे आस्क्ड दिस ऐसे टॉपिक, यू नो, रिसेंटली, हिस्ट्री रिपीट्स एज अ फार्स और समथिंग. दोज हु fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it. ये ऐसे टॉपिक 100% in a couple of years मिल जाएगा आपको. ओल्ड, प्राइमोर्डियल, एंशिएंट, क्लीशेड ऐसे टॉपिक है, कहीं ना कहीं आ ही जाएगा. ऐसे टॉपिक्स को कैसे डील करना है, टाइम ओरिएंटेड टॉपिक्स. we need to have a discussion on economic oriented topics. Suppose there was this, you know, this weird question they asked, well, not a weird question, very interesting question. They asked forest are the examples of economic excellence. ये क्वेश्चन उन्होंने पूछा लास्ट टू लास्ट ईयर. अब ये इकोनॉमिक डायमेंशन में आ जाता है, फिट हो जाता है. पूरी डिस्कशन करनी है हमको उसमें. इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ और सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट में क्या फर्क होता है? आर दे द सेम थिंग? व्हाट अबाउट इनकम इनइक्वालिटी? ऑल दिस इनकम इनइक्वालिटी दैट यू एक्सपीरियंस नाउ इन टुडेज वर्ल्ड, इज द रेट ऑफ ग्रोथ वर्थ दैट प्राइस टू बी पेड? So is that an economically good thing to do, and is there an ethical dimension to it that has to be entertained in the topic? ये discussion हमको करने पड़ेंगे. Okay, so we'll have those content oriented discussions. Today we'll have some structure oriented conversations. Uzma, highly philosophical topics are actually not being asked. They are highly abstract topics. Philosophical topics तो 1 या 2 ही होते हैं actually हर एक साल में. Of course, as time goes on, you will understand what the difference between them is. Let us do एक exercise करते हैं. Let us do an exercise. Let me show you something. I used to have a lot of fun with this exercise. I'll modify it for you guys because you have a different skill set and we've had a bunch of, you know, different papers come in. ये वाली एक्सरसाइज करते हैं. लेट अस डू दिस लाइव एक्सरसाइज. दिनेश, बबीता, मेरा ये कहना है, आई वांट टू से दैट जब हम ऐसे टॉपिक्स चूज करते हैं, व्हेन वी चूज ऐसे टॉपिक्स, इस पे लिखना है, इस पे नहीं लिखना है, कैसे डिसीजन लेते हो आप? हाउ डू यू क्रिएट अ डिसीजन? here is my this thing. What is the worst essay topic according to you to write on amongst all of these? 1 2 3 4 सबसे डिफिकल्ट, सबसे ट्रिकी ऐसा टॉपिक कौन सा है इसमें आपके हिसाब से? मुझे लगता है ठीक है, इट्स नॉट ऑलवेज, इट्स नॉट एन एक्सट्रीम एग्जांपल आई थिंक, बट इट्स ओके, should be interesting. What is the worst possible essay topic to write on? Obviously that varies from person to person, but one or two of them are tricky. And when I say tricky, it means expression to chahiye hi chahiye, content bhi chahiye. So it requires something which requires a fair amount of expression and specific content. Both is tricky, can be tricky. Rakesh is saying 4. Inspiration for creativity, okay. Second, 4th to mujhe I found it to be very good actually. 4th, not all who wander are lost. सबका वेरी कर रहा है ये. It was varying for everybody. You say 4, Aditi is saying first one. But तो चलो ठीक है, we'll see. हमको पता चलेगा. There will be a mechanism. एक interesting चीज बताता हूँ मैं आपको. When you read the book, or when you see the lecture, I inserted something called the decision matrix. ये decision matrix वीडियो में भी है, बुक में भी है. This is a decision matrix. It's a very cool trick. It's like a small trick, just like a party trick. I don't think it's anything profound, but it tells you which type of essays you should avoid. The reason I mentioned this, the reason I've made a video about it, the reason it's mentioned in the book is because at least ये गलती हम ना करें. ऐसे टॉपिक्स को देख के हम कभी कभार इमोशनल हो जाते हैं. इमोशनल नहीं होना है, लॉजिकल रैशनल चॉइस लेनी है, लेंगे वो. अभी हम इसको डिस्कस नहीं करते, सबके अपने अपने अलग अलग हैं, बट कभी कभार ऐसे क्वेश्चन आ जाते हैं. जैसे फॉर इंस्टेंस आई टेल यू दिस, मिल जाएगी बुक या भी नहीं, सबको मिल जाएगी बुक. जो बुक जिसके पास नहीं है वो वीडियो देख सकता है, पूरी बुक वीडियोस के फॉर्मेट में अवेलेबल है. लास्ट टाइम देयर वाज दिस क्वेश्चन, इट वाज अ स्टेटमेंट बाय हीगल. द स्टेटमेंट वाज दिस, आई विल राइट इट फॉर यू. स्टेटमेंट कहती थी द रियल इज रैशनल, द रैशनल इज रियल. ये था डेथ ट्रैप. ये स्टेटमेंट, ये ऐसा टॉपिक आया था लास्ट ईयर. एंड ये अगर आप, if you play with this, you are in trouble, I think, because it is so virtually impossible to write well on this, because ये हीगल की स्टेटमेंट है. और रियल वर्सेस रैशनल और रियलिटी, अकॉर्डिंग टू दैट फिलोसोफर, रियलिटी इज अ रैशनल evolution of something called dialectic materialism. No, dialectics. He had this idea of, it's a very complicated, abstruse, and actually a pseudo-scientific idea जिसको आज nobody respects, but at a certain point it was very profound. लोगों को लगता था बहुत profound बात इन्होंने करी है हीगल ने. तो ये डेथ ट्रैप था. हमको कभी कभी ये एब्स्ट्रैक्ट टॉपिक्स देख के लगता है कि वी कैन हैंडल इट, इस पे हम लिख सकते हैं. शायद हमको, आई थिंक वी मे फॉल इनटू दैट ट्रैप बिकॉज समटाइम्स वी फील दैट इफ इट इज एब्स्ट्रैक्ट आई कैन प्रीटी मच फिट एनीथिंग. अब रियलिटी के बारे में कोई ना कोई कुछ ना कुछ तो लिख ही सकता है ना ऋतु, कोई ना कोई कुछ तो लिख ही देगा उसमें. उनको ये ना, दे मे नॉट रियलाइज कि दे डोंट नो एनीथिंग अबाउट द टॉपिक एज सच. बट सो दैट इज स्टेप नंबर 1. डायलेक्टिकल मटेरियलिज्म था हीगल का आइडिया. डायलेक्टिकल मटेरियलिज्म इज एक्चुअली मार्क्स's आइडिया. Dialectics was Hegel's idea. Karl Marx took this idea and used it on the economic history of the world. And he said कि जो Hegel का idea है, जैसे evolution होती है यूनिवर्स की, उस हिसाब से ये dialectical materialism में जब हम देखते हैं, it seems like ultimately हर सोसाइटी में एक higher class बन जाती है of capital owners और एक workers की class बनती है, और ultimately इनमें conflict होता है. And the conflict leads to some synergy, and that synergy is communism, and that is an ideal society. तो ये मार्क्स का आइडिया था, वो हीगल का आइडिया है. पॉइंट ये है कि हमको दोनों पता होने चाहिए. वी शुड नो दिस. कंटेंट, वो कंटेंट की कैटेगरी में है. डायलेक्टिक्स इज अ लोडेड वर्ड, अमन. Dialectics is a loaded word. You must Google properly what it means. Socrates may have dealt with it, but I would say the intellectual copyright of this word, dialectics, is Hegel. George Friedrich Hegel. That guy was super weird and highly difficult to understand. Even today he is considered, look, people make memes about it. So how difficult his ideas were. Anyway, deconstruction. Deconstruction सब लोग जानते हैं कि मैं बताऊं. What is deconstruction? Deconstruction is step number 1. Structure में step number 1. दर्शनी हीगल is nobody. आप छोड़ दो हीगल को. Step number 1. Step number 1 is very simple, super simple. Step number 1 says all essay topics are divided into thing 1 and thing 2. हाँ, break करना. बिल्कुल. Yes, ये टेक्निक है बड़ी सिंपल सी, बट ये बहुत काम आती है एक्चुअली. ये बहुत काम आती है बिकॉज आई विल शो यू, आई विल डेमोन्स्ट्रेट. एक लाइव एक्सरसाइज कर रहे हैं, ठीक है तानिया? मेरा ये कहना है, आई एम सेइंग दैट एवरी essay topic is pretty much every essay topic is divided into thing 1 and thing 2. Can you identify thing 1 and thing 2? Let me give you an easy example. एक easy example, then we'll have a difficult example. Easy examples में से ये हैं. Let me ask you the question. Mindful manifesto is the catalyst of a tranquil self. Essay number 2 देखिए. Mindfulness manifesto. इसमें thing 1 क्या है, thing 2 क्या है? That I want to know. Let me see what you say. Manifesto is the catalyst for the tranquil self. What is thing 1? What is thing 2? Let me know. Let us see कौन पहले बोलता है. Thing 1, mindful manifesto, mind, self. नहीं सुकन्या, I don't think mind और self is thing 1 और thing 2. आप उसको थोड़ा सा लिटरली पढ़ो. Mindfulness manifesto, tranquil self. हाँ, ये ठीक है. Yes, आफरीन is correct. I think आफरीन बिल्कुल ठीक है. कृष्णा प्रिया भी बिल्कुल ठीक है. कृष्णा प्रिया, you are absolutely correct. I think Raghav Bharadwaj is also correct, and Aman is also correct, but perhaps slightly just not exactly accurate. But you got the idea. Yes, Umanshi, you're right. Yes, Sanya, yes. Apurva, you're right. Yes. Babita, correct. Rishikesh, correct. Vanshika also correct. Clear हो गया? Easy example था ये. Let me take an easier example, and then let us go to a difficult one. In this statement, it is very clear mindfulness manifesto and tranquil self are thing 1 and thing 2. What about this one? And this is an easier statement. Technology cannot replace manpower. What is thing 1? What is thing 2? This is super easy. Simple topic. What is thing 1? What is thing 2? Now, this is basic, elementary. Correct. Navneet, correct. This is like super easy. Now, अब मुझे पता है आपको आता है. This is too easy. It is just you can tell this to me in your sleep. Yeah, आप सबको आता है. I know it. But let me ask you something. What if I take thing 1 and thing 2 and I turn that into metaphors? अब मैं बोल रहा हूं एक metaphorical statement. मैंने एक metaphorical statement बोल दी. Metaphorical statement का मतलब I don't exactly specify what is thing 1 and thing 2, but I use metaphors. And here is a metaphor. Ships don't sink because of water around them, but what would you do with this one? Ships don't sink because of water around them, but water that gets into them. Now it is getting harder. Is it about ships? Is this essay about ships? Technology and manpower is simple. One is about technology. Thing 1 is technology. Thing 2 is manpower. Clear. But what about this? Ships don't sink because of water around them, but water that gets into them. What are the two things that this essay topic is about? Water के बारे में तो बिल्कुल नहीं है ये. Internal issues outside Aditi, that's an interesting thought, but we'll get to that. Yes. Umanshi, water around, but water that gets into it. Huh? I would agree, yes. So it's very close. External factor, internal factor, huh? You've got it. That's the whole idea, I think. That is the essential idea between this self and surrounding. ठीक है, प्रोग्रेस एंड रिस्क तो प्रतीक मे बी वन इंटरप्रिटेशन ऑफ इट, बहुत सारे इंटरप्रिटेशन इसके हो सकते हैं, बट वन इंटरप्रिटेशन इज दैट, और भी बहुत सारे होंगे. लेट मी आस्क यू वन क्वेश्चन बिफोर यू आंसर थिंग वन एंड थिंग टू. ये जो शिप है, शिप इज अ मेटाफॉर. Is it about actual ships? Actual ships के ऊपर तो नहीं है ना. It is not about naval warfare. It is not about the history of sailing. It is not about how vessels take people over water from one place to another. It is about something else. What is the ship a metaphor for? Ship का क्या मतलब है? What is a ship? Exactly what it means. Water का मतलब clear हो गया हमको. I think we've understood water. Ship, Raghav, you are saying ship is equal to live water is equal to internal and external volume. हाँ. Yes, I would have to agree, but I will make a change. I will make a slight edit to that. You're right. You're there, pretty much there. नहीं, भीम national, international ठीक है, वो एक, that is one good example. But what exactly, what all do you mean by when he says ship? Human versus situation, overthinking, human life, mental state, man. Feeling safe versus feeling anxiety. You've taken a psychological interpretation of it, but it could mean this, but it means a lot of other stuff. Could potentially mean a lot of other. Okay, can I give it a shot? Janana says society. Gyan Surya. Okay, let me try to give it a shot. Good. Ahmad is saying country, and ship is life or country. Actually, let me take a crack at this. In my opinion, the ship is a metaphor for any organism, any structure, any system. The ship is a metaphor for any system. That system could be an organization. That system could be a company. That system could be a country. That system could be a human being. That system could be a simple cell, a simple human cell. And the metaphor of the water is the environment. It is about the system embedded in an environment and the effect of the environment on the system. Generally, very at the most abstract level, this is what it means. Now, ship could not be anything. It has to be a closed system which interacts with the environment. So let me ask you this. Suppose, people get COVID and people fall sick. Why do people fall sick? People fall sick when this organism is invaded by something outside the system. The COVID virus does not do anything as long as it is outside. It's when it gets inside that it causes trouble, right? Once it infiltrates your boundaries, comes from outside your environment and infiltrates the boundaries inside and then wreaks havoc. What about corruption? What about corruption? Is it not similarly affecting the organization or the system that is a government or that is a bureaucracy? A Trojan horse is a good example. Yeah, sure. What about a computer virus? That system doesn't have to be alive. The system could be inert. What about a supercomputer system? What about any system which is digital? It can be invaded from outside. Yes. So you see that the ship is a metaphor for that. The water is a metaphor for the environment. This we need to identify. जब ये आइडेंटिफाई हो जाता है, शांति सुप्ति प्रिय, जब ये आइडेंटिफाई हो जाता है तो हम पूरे के पूरे ऐसे को अच्छे से लिख सकते हैं, क्योंकि फिर हम कुछ मिस नहीं करते. हम पूरा ऐसे नेशन पे नहीं लिखते. फिर वी डोंट राइट द होल ऐसे ऑन द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, ऑन वन टाइप ऑफ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. फिर हम उस मेटा लेवल पे उसको हैंडल कर सकते हैं. दिस इज द थिंग विच इज सुपर इंपॉर्टेंट. ये आइडेंटिफाई करना जरूरी है. इसलिए when you identify thing 1 and thing 2, now you will face metaphorical statements sometimes. You need to know what are the two things being contrasted, what are the two things being compared. You need to have an appreciation for that, because there lies the essence of your essay. उसी को अनपैक करना होगा हमको. हर essay में हम वही अनपैक कर रहे होंगे कि ये thing 1 और thing 2 के बीच में क्या कॉन्फ्लिक्ट है या नहीं है, और अगर है तो कैसे सॉल्व होगा. That's it. What is the conflict between thing 1 and thing 2? What happens when you take both, and how do you resolve that conflict, right? So you appreciate what is happening here. संध्या के अलावा तो सबको समझ में आ रहा है शायद. Simple है. So far so good. Nothing complicated. Abhi we will take a few more examples. We will get there. It is just essential to have this basic understanding, and बहुत सारे हम वो करेंगे and we'll have a deeper appreciation. Let us try one more. This time you be careful. जो स्टेटमेंट देंगे यूपीएससी के एग्जाम में, उसके पीछे का क्या मतलब है, फंडामेंटल कॉन्सेप्ट्स क्या कंपेयर हो रहे हैं, वो आइडेंटिफाई करना है आपको. यू गाइज मस्ट आइडेंटिफाई द फंडामेंटल कॉन्सेप्ट्स बिहाइंड दैट स्टेटमेंट. ओके, लेट्स टेक अनदर एग्जांपल. Let us take another example. What should we take? Let us take an example from the previous year, or the most recent one. Let us take 3. Not all who wander are lost. Not all who wander are lost में क्या होगा? Thing 1, thing 2. What are the two things being compared? What are the two fundamental ideas being contrasted? Not all who wander are lost. Not all who wander are lost. What is thing 1? What is thing 2? What are the two concepts being contrasted? Something or the other has been said in that statement. Wanderlust, Shashwat. Wandering से क्या मतलब है? That wandering, that getting lost is a metaphor. ये जो lost word use करा है, it is a metaphor. What is it a metaphor for? ये तो आपने you have identified the words. आपने words identify कर दिए हैं, दर्शनी. You've got that. I'm asking you, what is the wandering का मतलब क्या होता है? What is the metaphor of wandering? Trying out different things. Exploration is good. स्नेहा बिल्कुल ठीक. Wonder plus lost. Researchers and duffers. Nahi. This is not it, Abhi. Risk. Exploring. Wandering is equal to exploring, taking risks. Creativity. Taking risk and failure. People wandering and experience. What is the imagination is good. That's a good point right there. Like Christopher Columbus, so Sanjeev Christopher Columbus is also correct. बिल्कुल ठीक है, अच्छा एग्जाम्पल है, पर वो लिटरल एग्जाम्पल है, वो भी हम यूज कर सकते हैं, वो भी एक वॉन्डरिंग का एग्जाम्पल है. Let me ask you this question, which will perhaps clarify. What different types of wandering are you aware of? What are the different types of wandering that humans do? Tell me different types of wanderings. Different types of wanderings क्या हो सकती हैं? What are different types of wandering? One is of course physical wandering. You know, I can actually go out into the world without an aim. I can take a one-way ticket to a place and I can start exploring. Physical wandering, geographical हो गया. That is geographical, है ना? Yes. What other wanderings are there? Ascetic wandering, so spiritual. You are trying to say, Priyanka, it's spiritual. Imagination, very good. Intellectual. You want to say intellectual. Learning is intellectual. Yes. Good. Now you are getting it. Yes. कोई और होती है क्या? Are there other type of wanderings? आप कौन सी वॉन्डरिंग कर रहे हो अभी? टेल मी दैट. ट्रैवल, करियर, स्पिरिचुअल. गुड. तानिशा ने करियर बोल दिया. करियर में भी तो वॉन्डरिंग होती है. रिलेशनशिप्स में होती है क्या? इज देयर वॉन्डरिंग इन रिलेशनशिप्स? एक्सप्लोरेशन होती है. सर्चिंग फॉर लाइफ इज ऑफ कोर्स दैट इज ज्योग्राफिकल, दैट्स एक्चुअल लिटरल वॉन्डरिंग. इमोशनल हो गया, इंटेलेक्चुअल हो गया. इमोशनल तो नहीं, इमोशनल आई डोंट नो इफ यू कैन कॉल इट. करियर, यस. So these are all these types of wanderings. So in order to do justice to this topic, not all who wander are lost. We need to touch upon this a little bit. But at the end of the day, what is the fundamental wandering that is being mentioned? Who can put that for me in 3 words, 4 words? What type of wandering clubs all these types of wanderings in one simple statement, in 3 words, 4 words? Can you take all these wanderings and tell me what exactly is it referring to? I will give you a hint. It has to do with human nature. Human nature. I am looking for the words. Yes, Lord Buddha was wandering. He wandered physically and spiritually both. He wandered a lot. It's about, Sneha, you say it's about making the world a better place. Nahi, trials and error nahi. It is about wandering leads to innovation. Is Gita correct? Gita correct. Trying out new different, experiencing different things. The experiencing different things, what is it part of? What is the nature inside us that compels us to do this? Quest for knowledge, self-discovery. Very good. Very good. Purpose of life. Exploring new things intentionally or intentionally is also good. You are close. Wandering is something unknown to explore. Wandering of self-academic social existence. Satisfaction for living, searching for new. All right. Good inputs right there. It is referring to curiosity also. Of course, curiosity is the fundamental thing, the fundamental reason. Our need to explore uncharted territories, whether those are mental or geographical, is an inherent trait. It's an inherent characteristic of being human. And because we are living, and because we always find ourselves trapped in a small place, in a small time, and we are always surrounded by urgency, and we are always surrounded by a sense of deep urgency on the things which are going on, we sometimes do not give enough onus, we sometimes do not give enough emphasis on the act of curiosity alone, on the wandering itself. At times, the people who wander aimlessly, whether they are intellectual researchers, like for instance, Albert Einstein wandered for a long time before he hit upon his theory of relativity. He was a clerk. Albert Einstein was a person who was deliberately wandering. Wandering was Einstein's strategy. Einstein, what do you know what he did? He knew that ये जो ideas हैं इनको explore करने के लिए he needs time. He joined a clerk's office जहां पर बाकी लोगों के research papers आते थे. And he would review these research papers. So he picked a job जिसमें wandering possible हो. वो wandering करी उसने. He did wandering. And he found out at the end of his wandering something new. Right? So it is the inherent ability, it is inherent impulse in us to explore is what this wandering means. It sometimes gets castigated. And it sometimes gets denigrated as something unwelcome because it points to aimlessness. But aimlessness and laziness is not the same thing as curiosity, is not the same thing as wandering. This is what this essay topic is about, right? So we would have to uncover all these things and then have a discussion about it. But let me ask you one thing. एक और important question है Vanshika about this particular essay topic. Do you agree with the statement? Let me ask you this. Not all who wander are lost. Should we agree with this statement blanketly? Should we have कुछ agree कर ली जाए ये statement पूरी एक बारी मान लिया जाए इसको पूरा essay जो है the whole essay should we write as a supporting argument for the statement? क्या इसका is there another side? कुछ अलग side है इस चीज की? कोई counter argument है इसका? Is there a counter argument to it? अगर है तो क्या है वो? बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है सुनने में. It's sounding great, you know, a human's capacity of exploration. That is why Christopher Columbus found America. That is why Einstein was able to discover relativity. That is what makes us great, blah, blah, blah. But what is the counter argument? There has to be a counter argument in such things. What is that? Tell me what it is, according to you. Time wasted, missed opportunity, very good. बहुत अच्छा. स्नेहा ने बहुत बिल्कुल ठीक बात बोली. Gitika anxiety, very good. Yes. Wandering also helps in self-evaluation. हाँ, ये तो मतलब these are the positive. We are talking about the opposite side. They waste a lot of time in wandering and sometimes fail to succeed. हाँ, Afrin, of course. But Afrin, ये तो फिर I don't think it is the best argument against it. Opportunity cost is a really good word. Bhavna, yes, opportunity cost definitely is important. Balance, judgment, misconceptions. Waiting for is better than writing counter to it, I feel. You will write it, Sanjeev. You will write it in favor only, but you will appreciate the other side. I'm not saying you will argue against it, but your essay, in order for it to be complete, has to show appreciation for the other side. Daydreaming, you will conclude obviously in its favor. इसी के फेवर में conclude करेंगे हम, but ये तो touch करेंगे हम. Daydreamers, waste और resources. Opportunity cost बहुत अच्छा word है. आप you are understanding, आप समझ रहे हो, बहुत अच्छा, but फिर भी there is a selection of words. कुछ selection है words के जो बहुत अच्छे से इसको encapsulate कर देते हैं. Opportunity cost is one of the best. Opportunity cost is one of the best things which encapsulate it, but you've got the idea. मुझे लगता है आप सब लोगों को exploration stability. Navneet is saying stability. Yes, I wanted to hear the word security. मैं security word सुनना चाह रहा था. Security और risk इस type का कोई combination of that I would have really. That's what I was looking for. But you have got the idea. That's important. Whenever you wander, it is the definition. It is predefined, it is inbuilt into the definition of wandering that you will give up some security. If you are not giving up on the security, then exploration doesn't occur, because exploration by definition is outside your comfort zone. You understand? You agree with my argument here? आदित्य बिल्कुल ठीक है, एलियनेशन भी मानता हूं मैं बिल्कुल, बट एक पॉइंट तो ये है ना, दैट वी हैव टू मेक श्योर व्हेन टू बफर आवर risks and how. Yeah, obviously, ultimately, now you see, now when we have the, जब काउंटर आर्ग्यूमेंट्स अब हमारे पास आ गए, तो अब हमारा जो कंक्लूजन है वो भी थोड़ा सा डिफरेंट हो जाता है. वो भी हमारा थोड़ा सा डिफरेंट हो जाता है ना. अब हम ये नहीं कह सकते, हम अल्टीमेटली ये नहीं बोलेंगे कि वॉन्डरिंग वाज गुड और वॉन्डरिंग वाज बैड. हम ये बोलेंगे कि बैलेंस बनाना पड़ता है. हमारा जो द बेस्ट पार्ट्स ऑफ अस, दे कम आउट व्हेन वी एक्सप्लोर. द मोर वी एक्सप्लोर, द बेटर वी बिकम. द मोर अनचार्टेड टेरिटरी वी अनकवर, the more we progress, the more we innovate, the more everything, of course, that happens in that direction. In fact, science develops in that direction. Science develops because of that. But at the same time, there is a cost to exploration. There is a risk associated with exploration. Exploration, by definition, means that we give up on security, that we give up on stability. How and when and to what extent do we explore versus maintain stability determines how intelligently will we live life. That type of a conclusion you can draw. And now when you think about it, now when I've said that, can you appreciate the parallel between this essay topic and the ships and the ship and the harbor? There was an essay topic in the last year. A ship in harbor is safe, but that is not what ships are for. Can you appreciate the similarity between these two? A ship in harbor is safe. Why are we able to appreciate the similarity? सपना क्यों नहीं समझ में आ रहा? सपना मेडिसिन टेस्टिंग हम इसलिए समझ पा रहे हैं इसको, बिकॉज हमने उसको डिकंस्ट्रक्ट करके वी हैव टू ट्राई टू बॉयल इट डाउन. वी ट्राई टू बॉयल इट डाउन टू द कोर आइडिया. हम वो आइडेंटिफाई करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं बस. बेसिक थीम इज करेक्ट, दिव्यांशी करेक्ट. यस, यही हम करना चाह रहे थे. वंस वी बॉयल इट डाउन एंड एनालाइज इट, वी नो what it is about. कैसे लिखना है, क्या क्या लिखना है, those things come later, but at least we should know what it is, the fundamental idea. You could say the same thing in a number of different ways. Let me ask you another question, Aditya, Vinita. Is there another way, another statement that symbolizes the same idea? Is there another statement that symbolizes the same idea, or anyone that you could perhaps think of that symbolizes the same idea in a different way? Could there be another statement of a similar nature, of the same idea? I will give you an example. You tell me if I am on the right track or not. My example is life begins Yes, very nice, very nice. देखते हैं, let us see what your statement is. My statement is no pain, no gain. Interesting, but pain, ठीक है, but you would have to equate pain with curiosity and pain with discomfort, etc., which is what I have done. My statement is growth lies outside your comfort zone. Similar, I think. I don't know. I don't think it's exactly the same, but at least one of the major interpretations is the same in both of these. Comfort zone rots you. It's a pretty strong statement, है? ठीक है, I mean, that's fine, but I would not encourage extreme statements which are hard to defend. Bihari scholar, what I wrote was, what did I write? I wrote, growth lies outside your comfort zone. That was my statement, which sort of, in a way, symbolizes the same idea. Hunger is always not fed. Result needs working. Pain means growth. ठीक है, मतलब you've got the. अब इस कैटेगरी का कोई भी जब ऐसे टॉपिक आए, तो you have some idea at least कि ये बेसिक चीज क्या है. What is the basic abstract idea behind it? You got it? No battlefield, no use of sword. I don't know if we can actually use that, but that's interesting nonetheless. Success doesn't come to you, you go to it. Okay? Comfort zone is ideal, not reality. Success is not final, failure is not fatal. Natural selection and evolution. Maybe you can use that in the content somewhere, but I don't think you can use the idea of evolution to represent this, because the idea of evolution is restricted to biology and may not go into other spheres, especially spirituality or intellectual. But that is, again, it's an open, weird type of argument that we can't really put a pin on it. It's not easy to define this. Pushing our minds to reality, hard work and success. Okay, fine. I mean, it's good. You've got the idea. Good. That means you're following. Now, one of the things we do, you can relate it to courage and sacrifice. You can. Pushing your limits. Of course, you can. You got the idea. It's about you. Are you guys aware about structured brainstorming and what it is? Structured brainstorming? It's an exercise which I had created. Reasonably simple, straightforward exercise. Reasonably simple. You want to try this in actual life? Do you want to try this right now? अभी ट्राई करें इसको, स्ट्रक्चर ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग को. इसी टॉपिक पे करते हैं लाइव, देखते हैं क्या निकलता है. अभी हमने बहुत सारी डिस्कशन करी है इस टॉपिक पे. हम एक अलग पूरा एक क्लस्टर लेके हम चल रहे हैं. वी हैव डन ऑल हु वांडर आर लॉस्ट. Ships don't sink because of water that gets around them, water gets into them, but that's a slightly different tangent of debate. We discussed about a ship in harbor is safe, but that is not what ships are for. Then we had something to say about opportunity cost, etc. Let me take wandering. हमने wandering को define करा. Wandering can be intellectual, wandering can be geographical. Wandering is essentially our humans, our ability, our inherent tendency to explore the unknown. That is wandering. Let wandering be thing one. Let wandering be thing one. Now, if you can take a piece of paper, if you have a piece of paper, fine. If you don't have it, then you can obviously respond in the chat. I am reading it and we'll have a lot of fun with it. Thing one is wandering. Thing two is being lost. अब अगर wandering intellectual है, तो you can be lost in intellectual things also. अगर wandering career में है, तो you can be lost in your career also. अगर wandering geographical है, तो you can be lost in actual life also. Like Christopher Columbus was lost and ultimately found something that he was not expecting. Now my question is this. This exercise, structured brainstorming, इसका purpose है कि किसी भी keyword को, these keywords, these thing one, this thing two, technology, manpower, In any case, when you ask a certain set of questions, तो हमारे mind में जितना भी content होता है about that keyword, it forces us to bring that out. That is what this does. This exercise का purpose ये है. इसका purpose ये है कि हमको जितना भी content है which has different dimensions associated with that topic, those get captured. Why and how? Because of certain questions. Let us see if that happens. Let me ask you a few questions. कुछ questions मैं पूछता हूं आपसे. Let us see क्या आता है. Important है रेनू वैष्णवी, जो हम words बोलेंगे ना अब इन questions के response में, जो words हम इन questions के response में बोलेंगे वो हम लिख लेंगे. We will try to write them. But again, like I mentioned, इसमें the book and the video lectures of the book contain this in detail. पूरी explained है in detail, but एक बारी live भी करके देखते हैं. Wandering, lost. Wandering is thing 1, lost is thing 2. I've written it like this very simply. Wandering is lost, and I've basically just divided the page into two. Nothing great. Wandering. I'm going to ask you a few questions. You tell me the words, and if you give me good words, I'll write them down. And you also may wish to write it down if you can. I understand many of you are using your phone, so you won't be able to maybe do two things. If you can, it would be good. It would be nice. Wandering. Question number 1. याद रखना ये wandering जब metaphorical wandering है. बहुत सारे टाइप की wandering के बारे में क्वेश्चन पूछे जा रहे हैं. Where have you heard or read about wandering before? Where have you read or heard about wandering before? I am reading the questions. Shashwat. Where have you heard this type of wandering before? You've heard it in history. You've heard Christopher Columbus. Buddha, who used to wander. Buddha, bilkul Priyanka, I have written Buddha. Spiritual quest, history, I have written literature, textbooks, traveling, I will write traveling. Or poems, philosophy. मतलब in philosophy तो कैसे मतलब? I'm not sure how you mean. Columbus I have written, Yamini. Renaissance, sure. Gulliver's Travel, sure, yes. In real life, in science, that's good. I'll write science. Research also I like. I'll write science oblique research. Curiosity is a really important word. I'll write that. Technology also I'll write. Monali, that's fine. You can watch the recording. Science mein Pinku, I've written science. Maybe I can write science and Einstein or something. So many examples. Kautilya, how are you associating Kautilya to wandering? I'm not sure what he did. Experimentation, ठीक है वो science में आ गया है, scientific method में आ गया है वो to some extent. और बताओ. So let me ask you another question. So all these words, so far I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 keywords. I've written them down. All right. 6 keywords, I wrote them down. Another question. What is the importance of wandering for human beings? What is the importance of wandering for human beings? What is the importance of wandering for human beings? I'll write space exploration, I like it. What is the significance of wandering for human beings? Space explorations मैंने लिख लिया है. Seafarers, ठीक है, traveling में लगा लेते हैं इसको. What is the importance of wandering for human beings? Self-discovery, very good. Yes, that's a good one. Write it. Spiritual fulfillment, satisfying curiosity. Yes, so self-fulfillment. Knowledge growth. In order to expand knowledge, AI, growth, evolution, exploring new things, development, self-innovation, self-renovation, self-growth में आ जाएगा वो. Brainstorming, self-awareness, I like that. Shweta, very good. Self-awareness. Have you guys heard about a word called self-actualization? Anybody who's heard about that? Anaswara, new opportunities is good, ठीक है. Dream fulfillment, getting theories done. Have you heard about self-actualization? achieving your potential, stuff like that. Salvation, peace, happiness. Prajwal is saying. Very good, very good. Agreed. ये सब चीजें हैं. Enlightenment, improvisation, self-examining तो भीम वो हो गया है. We have included that in self-actualization, self-awareness. Self-actualization अच्छा word है. You may know it, you may not know it. We will have some discussion about it in our classes. Self-transcendence, also very nice. Self-efficacy, achieving dreams, metaphysical, good. Pushing limits. Another question. Another question. What is the opposite of thing one? What is the opposite of wandering? What is the opposite of wandering? What words come to your mind when you hear a question like that? The opposite of wandering. What words come to your mind when you hear a question like that? There is a particular word I'm looking for. Stagnation. Very good, Priyanka. Yes, stagnation. एक और अच्छा word है जो आ सकता है. Fixed. You're close, but that word just hits the nail on the head. कोई भी बोल दे वो. I give you an idea. I give you a hint. It starts with I. The word starts with I. Insecurity नहीं है, but insecurity, I agree, is relevant, but that's not the word I'm looking for. Idle. Interesting, but it's not that. Very close. All of your words are so close to it, dancing around it literally. Isolation, good, but not isolation is not the word in my head. That word is not easy. It's not easy. It's not a common word that is used, but it just isolate, isolation, नहीं. ये सब अच्छे words हैं. ये सब अच्छे words हैं. ये सब use करने वाले words हैं. ये वो word नहीं है. But I'm just trying to synchronize. I'm trying to synchronize your thinking with my thinking by asking these questions. Once you and I are synchronized, we'll have such a great communication experience. इतनी communication experience किसी offline class में भी नहीं होती जितनी हम लोग करेंगे, आप देखोगे. Inertia. Tell me, is the opposite of wandering rest or is it inertia? बताओ मुझे. Think about that. What does this word mean, inertia? Immobile, inactive, incurious. Incurious, though, I don't think is a word. Yes, Neha, inertia is the word and it symbolizes and captures what it is that we are looking for. Ab inertia can be physical inertia, it can be mental inertia, it can be career inertia, but that is one of the good words that we can use. But in the process, इस inertia के बारे discussion के चक्कर में you mentioned so many good. Itinerant नहीं है माधव, itinerant नहीं है. Inactive inertia. Now you've got it right. I don't want you to find the same words, but I want you to understand the essence. ये inertia मैंने इसलिए बोला क्योंकि इस word की जो essence है वो capture कर लेती है the opposite of wandering. Wandering associated to somehow an extent, I would say, restlessness also. Restlessness. But inertia is something else. Inertia is good. Inertia is bad rest. हम रेस्ट बोल सकते हैं, हम इनएक्टिविटी बोल सकते हैं, बट बबीता इनएक्टिविटी अच्छी भी तो हो सकती है. इनएक्टिविटी अच्छी भी तो हो सकती है. इनर्शिया ज्यादातर अच्छा नहीं होता है. अगर इनर्शिया है तो उसका कहने का मतलब ही ये है कि दिस पर्सन is not growing, there's no movement. And inertia is also different from stability. Stability is something different. Stability, we want stability. Sneha, but stability can be experienced while moving also. If you are going really fast on an airplane, if you're going really fast on a train, you are moving, but you're stable. When you say inertia, that means you are resisting change. Inertia essentially means the resistance to change. That resistance cannot be positive. You may decide to break that inertia, but now you understood what I mean. I don't need to repeat. Inertia मैंने लिख लिया. Inactiveness, एक्टिवनेस भी लिख लिया है अभी. सो देयर आर 12 क्वेश्चंस. आई हैव जस्ट आस्क्ड यू 3 क्वेश्चंस और बहुत सारे रिप्लाईज हमारे पास आ चुके हैं. व्हाट एल्स कैन वी आस्क? Is there an ethical debate associated with wandering? What could it be? What could it be? Is there an ethical debate somehow associated with it? अगर directly related है तो ठीक है, otherwise it doesn't need to have an answer to every one of these. If it is obvious and it is right there in front of us, then we'll take it. नहीं तो हम छोड़ सकते हैं इसको. Stability is preferred. Is there an ethical debate associated with it? What could be the ethical debate in being inert versus being driven enough to be wandering? Huh, Ishita? Yes, I like that. Ishita is saying Buddha left his family, and that may be somewhat unethical. So your wandering may be a cost on somebody else. And you may wonder, but it's not always you that you should focus on. All of this conversation about self this, self that, self all this, it's all so focused on the individual. What about the rest of the people? Yes, wandering may take you away from your responsibility. Kiran, I agree. That is, अगर कोई इसमें ethical debate है तो वो इसमें है. तो Socrates says, Vimal, Socrates says unexamined life is not worth living. And he may be correct. But who is he to say this? Who is he to say what is life worth living or not living? Because there are equally valid points of view which says that unexamined life is worth living. Have you heard of the Charvak philosophy? Have you heard of hedonism? These are philosophical schools which say that किसी को wandering से कोई मतलब नहीं है. Wandering, exploration, examination से कुछ नहीं होता है. It is a waste of time. You are here for a while. After a while, you will be here no more. You will die. The only thing to do is pursue happiness, is to pursue pleasure, is to pursue great experiences while you're alive. They will say, Charvak will say, hedonists will say, Epicureans will say, over-examination is a waste of life. They will not agree with Socrates. So, there are two equally valid points of view there. Too much wandering, gene editing. Yes, really good example, Sukanya. Really good here. I'll write that. Gene editing. बहुत अच्छा. That is really good that you mentioned it. You've got it. This ethical debate, definitely we can put कि भी where do you put the limits on science? अब हम बोल रहे हैं कि साइंस को एक्सप्लोर करना चाहिए and science is good और वो प्रोग्रेस, बट कहीं लिमिट भी तो है. हो सकता है कुछ ऐसी चीजें हों जो हमको एक्सप्लोर ना करनी चाहिए, नहीं करनी चाहिए. फॉर इंस्टेंस एटॉमिक बॉम्ब तो है ही, ऑफ कोर्स क्लासिक एग्जांपल है एटॉमिक बॉम्ब. Same thing would be applicable to artificial intelligence. अब we don't know how to regulate it. We don't know what will happen. Artificial intelligence भी हम यूज कर सकते हैं ना, एक्सप्लोरेशन तो हम कर रहे हैं. What it will do, what it may not do, we don't know. So perhaps there should be a cap on unfettered, and that is a good ethical debate to have. Really good. Environment also, I would say yes, but I don't think it's good. Exploration much on his mind. AI तो AI I will write it. ये बहुत अच्छा point बताया है gene editing का. It has opened up, you see, this one keyword of gene editing as an ethical debate against wandering has opened up all of these ideas. Adultery, बिल्कुल, मतलब of course adultery तो by definition unethical होती है ना. That is why we call it adultery. ठीक है, you've got it. अच्छा, अभी तक let me show you this. So one side of my page is filled. मेरी एक पेज फिल हो चुकी है पूरी. One side of the page is full. Let me ask you a question. Had we not asked these questions, data security also, sure, why not? But I don't know if it has much to do with exploration. Let me ask you this. Had we not asked these questions, would we have had all of these keywords with us? अभी जो keywords हमारे पास हैं, and I'll read out some of the keywords. अभी आप ही लोगों ने मुझे keywords बताए हैं. You guys told me a few keywords. Some of those are history, Christopher Columbus, Buddha, traveling, seafarers, science, research, Einstein, curiosity, technology, space exploration, self-fulfillment, growth, self-awareness, inertia, inactiveness, gene editing, artificial intelligence. ये आपने मुझे keywords बताए इसके. अब when I ultimately write the essay, these things will come in my hand, come handy, super handy. ठीक है? अब just go back to the essay topic for a minute. Essay topic was not all those who wander are lost. Not all those who wander are lost. If you treat that essay topic and you start to write on it, would you cover many of these things or would you skip many of these things? You know, jitne bhi we have had these discussions here, all these keywords, much of them might have been skipped now because you could not have completely captured it. There are now so many keywords that हमको इसमें से filter करना पड़ेगा. We will have to filter it. We won't be able to include all of it. हाँ, obviously हम skip करते. That is exactly right. There is no magic. इतनी कोई magic नहीं है. सिर्फ एक simple एक demonstration थी ये. It was a demonstration of how these frameworks come to our rescue. Just because एक framework था, 4 questions हमने पूछे, फिर दिमाग लगाया थोड़ा सा, we brainstormed a little bit, ये सब content निकल कर आया. ये frameworks इस book में हैं भरे हुए. This is what this whole book is about. मैं चाहता हूं आप ये frameworks सीख लें starting में. आगे की life बहुत easy हो जाएगी और बहुत मजा आएगा आपको. Do you want me to tell you a framework for creating introductions on the same topic? We can do that before we do dimensions. Would you like to do that? There will be no fear. There's no fear. There's no fear at all. This is the easiest. It's the fun part. ये डरने वाला part तो है ही नहीं. This is the fun part, I would say. Let me open up the chapter. I mean, those who have this book will find it on chapter number 12. I will explain it. We will actually do it. We will actually do some things. Sukanya, I think it will last for about an hour, about another hour, and then we'll give it a close. Geetika, we'll do something about your grammar and stuff. We'll need to do something about grammar. If your grammar is off, then no matter how much you understand, I don't think you'll get the actual potential of the marks you can get, because it is language and you can't sacrifice language at the end of the day. And the UPSC cannot ignore it. UPSC cannot ignore bad grammar. It's so much. So what can you say? You can't ignore it. Let's talk about introductions. Let us talk about introductions, and let me give you something really to think about. Let me see what I want to show you guys. Yeah, introductions. No, Rashi, vocabulary nahi. Vocabulary not super important. Clarity but super important. Vocabulary, clarity are different things, but actually not so different. You know, there is a fair amount of correlation in clarity and vocabulary. Do you know, interestingly, there is a clear correlation between vocabulary and intelligence. बहुत अजीब सी रिसर्च है ये, बट ये सच है. बहुत, in most cases, the higher the intelligence, the better the vocabulary. पता नहीं क्यों होता है ये. Nobody knows कि words, in order to, if you have a wider repertoire of different words, why that corresponds to higher overall intelligence is not clear, but it is the case. And I think they did this research on American presidents across history, and they found that the higher the IQ, the wider the vocabulary of that president, starting all the way back from Thomas Jefferson now to Barack Obama. Apparently, it has something to do with it. So, if you ask me a question right now, is vocabulary important? I am forced to say yes. I am not saying that vocabulary will get you everywhere. I am not saying that without vocabulary you cannot get anywhere. I am saying that if you have the vocabulary, you'll get there better, you'll get there faster. If you can, should you focus on vocabulary? Sure, yes, why not? Of course. Yeah, it's a really great important thing to have in your mental repertoire. But coming to the introduction now, ladies and gentlemen, the topic under discussion is all those who wander are lost. If you turn your pages to page number 114, if you don't have the book, doesn't matter because I will repeat it. जिनके पास है, those who have, page number 114 पे framework है. There is a framework. Azim, I'll talk about vocabulary, how to develop it. I think I'll probably have to give you reading material, reading content. To start to develop it slowly in the UPSC. I don't think you can escape. UPSC की तैयारी करते करते सबकी vocabulary बनी जाती है because you have to go through so much content. All this content, you can't get rid of it. You can't ever consume it all. The framework now, ladies and gentlemen. My framework for creating an introduction. But again, before I say something, रेनू, सपना, दयानंद, बहुत जरूरी है, ये एक फ्रेमवर्क है. इंट्रोडक्शंस अलग अलग तरीके से लिखी जा सकती हैं. ये एक अच्छा यूनिवर्सल बिगिनर्स का फ्रेमवर्क है. हम ये सीख लेंगे, हमको ये काम आएगा. इट विल रिफाइन आवर थिंकिंग. बट ये रूल नहीं है कि यही लिख के आना है वहां पे, यही फॉलो करना है वहां पे. वी कैन यूज इट, वी विल यूज इट. एंड हियर इज द फ्रेमवर्क. My framework says we will answer 4 questions. We will answer 4 questions. When the questions are asked, you will answer those questions in sentences. When you combine the sentences, an introduction will be formed. I will ask you 4 questions. You will write 4 statements. When you combine the 4 statements, it will be an introduction. Simple magic trick, right? Let me see if I can bring out that framework for you on your screen, so you know what's what. Try to locate it for you. Yeah, I think I got it. But those who have the book should refer to it because they will know what I'm going to do now. You guys can see this. ये framework है, simple. What is thing 1? What do you understand by thing 1? What do you understand by thing 2? I'll increase the size of it. This is the 4Q2 technique. यहाँ पर the example that is used is technology cannot replace manpower. What we will be using is different. We will be using a different framework and I'll ask you these questions. हाँ, हमारे केस में thing 1 was wandering. हमारे केस में thing 1 was wandering. Now my question, based on everything we have discussed, हमने इतने सारे कीवर्ड लिखे अभी ब्रेक से पहले, हमने wandering की बिल्कुल deconstruction कर दी. Based on that, how would you describe wandering for me in one sentence? Write that sentence. Write it. Type it. Write it. Daraksha, मुझे पता है आपकी इंग्लिश में you have a problem because we have spoken before and I remember in our first meeting you were in your office and we were having that Google Meet. तो आपने बताया था इंग्लिश की प्रॉब्लम हो रही थी आपको. I will do something about it. Aditya is saying wandering is to explore the new ideas and dimensions of life. Acting out of curiosity for the unknown. अभी मैंने बताया वो ह्यूमन नेचर वाली आप चीज उसमें इंसर्ट कर सकते हो. राघव, आई एग्री. राघव की स्टेटमेंट है wandering means to step out of your comfort zone. You think about this for one moment. What would you say? Deepak is saying going through lots of things at once. Wandering can be directionless. I apologize, I sometimes have to drink water in the middle because of so much talking. You need some form of very good inputs. Pratik, Saurabh, Sonam, Ambati, Naru, Divyansh, Manisha, Taranpreet. Walk without clear direction. Ritu. नहीं रितु इसको उससे connect, try to connect it with that human nature of exploration, etc. That will give you a really nice statement. Oops. Because this statement will become the first opening line of your introduction. Wandering means moving about without a specific destination or purpose, often in a leisurely or aimless. Very nice. पूरी definition ही दे दिया है नया ने. बहुत बढ़िया. Wandering is to explore. Inherent characteristics of human nature to be curious and explore without a particular aim in mind. Pranita will take that. First statement. Wandering is, आपने कहा, wandering is characteristic of a human being to explore the unknown. To explore the unknown without any particular aim in mind. This is what you said, right? This becomes your statement number one. My next question now. Divyansh, Harish, Rahul, mera second question. What is it to be lost? We also discussed what it means to be lost. How do you explain that in a statement? What is it to be lost? Aimless life. No, but give me a statement, Monali. I need a proper English statement with grammar. आपके all of your inputs are great. आपने wandering का मतलब अच्छे से समझ लिया है और आपको पूरी तरह से क्लियर है इस ऐसे का एसेंस क्या है. बट हमको अब we need to put it into actual words. Being confused, किरण नहीं, caught in a vicious cycle. एक वैसे my suggestion, मेरी suggestion आपको क्या है, एक छोटी सी suggestion. If you put display pictures, अगर आप display picture लगाओगे तो और मजा आएगा. Your educators will know who you are. इधर चैट में तो पता नहीं चलता है. आप एक्चुअली जेन्युइन अपनी डिस्प्ले पिक्चर लगा सकते हो. Sweetest part of life, Anthony. I don't understand. To be in trouble while wandering, lost in the moment. To be lost means to have no purpose in life. That's nice, Apurva. Maybe we'll take that. To be lost is to be purposeless. I will take that. Lost in dream. नहीं दार्शनी, because हमने डिस्कस करा था wandering और दोनों they can mean number of things without knowing what we are looking for. बहुत बढ़िया. बट वो तो फिर वंशिका वो तो फिर वॉन्डरिंग का डेफिनेशन हो गया ना. दैट रियली फिट्स व्हाट वी वांटेड टू से, बट वॉन्डरिंग डजंट रियली से व्हाट वी वर टॉकिंग अबाउट बीइंग लॉस्ट. Losing the clear picture, finding purpose. To be lost is to be caught in an endless cycle. But maybe the cycle is not endless. Maybe you are just lost and you'll soon find your destination. I mean, at least for a while, the Buddha was lost. And at least for a while, Christopher Columbus was lost and Einstein was lost. But they all found something. And it is in the process of being lost that you find certain things, right? That's what wandering is. Wandering is nothing but deliberately getting lost. Deliberately getting lost is what wandering is. But being lost forever means being purposeless. But the line which I think, I don't know, Vanchika mentioned or who mentioned it, to be lost is to be purposeless. That, I love that line. Lost means purposelessness and directionlessness. Manisha, got it. I think that is a really good statement to make. Your statements are also pretty good. Lost in the moment is bewildered due to doubt or aimless and way to aim. Okay, fine, got it. We have the second statement. We have the first statement. Number 3. What is the relationship between wandering and lost? What is the relationship between wandering and being lost? अभी हमने डिस्कस किया है. How would you put that for me in a statement of no more than 30 words? Now I'm talking about question number 3. Relationship between wandering and lost in a statement. Lost is aimless wandering. Nicely said. Lost is aimless wandering. हाँ, agreed. मतलब that's wandering is deliberate. Getting lost. Lost is aimless wandering. वो दोनों एक ही चीजें हैं. ये पूरी रिलेशनशिप डिस्क्राइब करनी है हमको. हाँ. Wandering is not always lost, but that doesn't really explain the relationship, na? It may be good, it may be bad. The relationship between wandering and being lost is that it is a necessary evil. I can put it that way, can I? Do you think it's okay for me to put it that way? मैं ठीक बोल रहा हूँ? Am I in the right direction? I am saying that the relationship between wandering and loss is that getting lost is a necessary evil. It's a necessary step. It's a necessary sacrifice for fruitful wandering or something like that. I want to say something like that. Wandering in an unconscious action. No, I am not talking about merits or demerits. It's a nice statement, Kiran. I like your statement. Kiran is mentioning wandering means you have many paths to be followed, but lost means you don't have any paths to walk on. This is what they mean. इनका आपस में relationship क्या है? अभी हमने discuss करा था. It has something or the other to do with opportunity cost. It has something or the other to do with security. वो relationship क्या है? जो हमने अभी डिस्कस किया था कुछ देर पहले, उसको एक स्टेटमेंट में हाउ डू यू पुट इट इन अ नाइस इंग्लिश स्टेटमेंट? Deliberate choice to embrace uncertainty. The ones who get wonder was the right path or lose the current path. Wondering is a characteristic of a human being to aid the curiosity in getting lost is the process to find a purpose. Very nice. Very nice. Anaswara, I know what you mean here. You distinguish between the two. Agreed. I mean, they're all equally valid. You're all saying the same thing in different words. You don't have a name, but whoever has written this has also written it very well. The relationship between wandering and loss is optimistic in order to find new things for the process of an individual as well as for society. Loss means not reach destination. Of course, Kami, but we must go beyond that. In the relationship, I'll tell you guys, according to me, these are good. अच्छे हैं ये आपके inputs. The relationship between wandering and being lost is breaking the inertia and opening up new discoveries in life. नहीं, but इसमें प्रॉब्लम क्या है ना मोहम्मद अशरफ, इसमें दिक्कत क्या है? हमने इसमें we have not included the other side. When I say relationship, I am talking about both positive, negative. Wandering, being lost is a necessary risk, is the price to be paid. I'll write that. Being lost is the price to be paid for fruitful wandering. Without the risk of being lost, we cannot hope to achieve, to break new ground. हो गया. What is the fourth question? जल्दी से खत्म करेंगे इसको. Why is the relationship important? I think that gets covered in this statement. That gets covered in my statement. Now, should I read out what I have read? Should I read out what I have written? Are you ready? Are you ready to hear the introductions which we have collectively created? हमने अपनी collective intelligence से जो handpick करके statements लिए हैं, उसमें क्या conclusion बन रही है? Are you ready to hear it? मैं is ready. Here is our introduction, ladies and gentlemen. हमारी introduction है, our introduction is, and I'm quoting, wandering is the characteristic of human beings and the impulse to explore the unknown. Wandering is the characteristic and the impulse of human beings to explore the unknown without a particular aim in mind. Full stop. To be lost is to be purposeless. To be lost is to be purposeless. But being lost is the price to be paid for fruitful wandering. But being lost is the price to be paid for fruitful wandering. Without the risk of being lost, we cannot hope to achieve new ground, whether in innovations or in discoveries or in our personal lives. This part I'll write, whether in innovation or discoveries or in our personal lives. I'll repeat that and you let me know how you like it in our personal lives. I will read the introduction once more. Wandering is the characteristic and impulse of human beings to explore the unknown without any purpose, without any particular aim in mind. To be lost is to be purposeless. Being lost is the price to be paid for fruitful wandering. Without the risk of being lost, we cannot hope to break new grounds, whether in innovations or discoveries or in our personal lives. Yeah, my introduction. How do you like it? It's okay. It is survivable. It is passable. Kuch, we have not created a literary masterpiece, but we've pretty much captured everything. जो जो इस ऐसे टॉपिक में इसकी जो गहराई का जितना भी एसेंस है इसको हमने कैप्चर कर लिया है. अब हम इसको एक्सप्लेन करेंगे आगे. We will talk about all sorts of wandering. We will talk about all these different things, and there's a lot we can write. But my introduction is there now, available in front of you. हमने लिखी है. All the statements were said by you. I added a few cosmetic changes only. ठीक है. ये again another case in point. Another case in point for frameworks and the efficacy of frameworks. When you use them, results come. So, therefore, and once again, use the frameworks. Ladies and gentlemen, I created those frameworks with you in mind to make your life easier. I am telling you because I know it as a matter of experience, because I've been in your shoes, and also because I am a writer. Fundamentally, you know, I do enjoy writing. That's why I write all these emails. And the reason that I continue to write is because I enjoy. So that knack, I think that aptitude for writing combined with that analytical way to create frameworks out of the thought process is that's what I do. I think that is my that's what I like to do, and that's what makes me different, and that is what I have put in this book. So that is what that's how you should use me, is what I'm trying to say. That's what I can do, maybe others may not be able to do, because my whole orientation and my training combine a scientific person with somebody who goes deep into psychology, who has a deep interest in language and literature, and you will get this. यही निकलेगा उसमें से. So this framework oriented approach is our first scaffold. That is level 1. You must learn level 1. Today I've given you a trailer. I've given you a glimpse. There's a lot more to be done. There's a lot more that we can do. And one of the things we could do, one of the many things that we can do with this framework is we can go into the body of the essay. Let's go a little bit into the body of the essay. We were able to write a full introduction, but I don't think we'll be able to write a full body today. But still, we can have a trailer. We can have a trailer. And if you can you go to section 4. Section 4 of the book is where you will find bodybuilding. Bodybuilding, but obviously it's not that type of bodybuilding. It is the building the body of your essay, that type of bodybuilding. Even though you will find some bodybuilding images on the page number 1. On page number 122. Moving on. Yes. Come to page number 126. If you don't come to page number 126, I will take you there myself through my words. Page number 126 doesn't say anything fancy. All it says, I'll tell you. What does page number 126 say? Yes, Sukanya, you can proceed. What does page number 126 say? It gives you another framework. What is the framework? Let me see if I can pull up something to. Maybe some form of. We'll write it down in here. This is the framework. Begins is simple. Yes, 4 blocks of bodybuilding. बड़ा simple है. But अभी again, जैसे if we go into the depth of it, something else will start to emerge. Just come to page number 133. If you can come to page number 133, you will find the details. I'll tell you what this means. Begins. Body of your essay. Introduction तो हमने लिख दी. Body of the essay can be divided according to this template. Again, I must emphasize and mention this is one way to do it. This is a basic fundamental way to do it. We should learn this way first because it will give us the license to later create our own for frameworks, and maybe we are not at that level yet. So this is a really good scaffold to have. We start to explore this. Bad things. What is bad things? Bad things is थिंग 1 और थिंग 2 के बीच में जो भी कॉन्फ्लिक्ट था उसकी नेगेटिव साइड, द पेसिमिस्टिक साइड ऑफ थिंग्स, द थिंग्स व्हिच आर essentially negative. Yes, Kiran, I may have given this exercise elsewhere. We haven't gone into the details of it. And today also we won't go into the details of it because today is an overview of the structure. We are not really on content, although invariably some content discussion is happening as we proceed. Bad things and good things. You may say that bad things and good things is pros and cons, but I think it is more than pros and cons. Ultimately, जो हम investigate करेंगे हर ऐसे में, most of Yamina, listen to this carefully because this is distinct. It's a slight distinction here. Most of the times in essay topics, once we identify thing 1 and thing 2, once we identify the 2 core concepts which it is built up of, we will have to go into the arguments of the debate. Here, when we spoke of wandering and being lost, we did spend some time. On the negative side, the counter arguments, loss of time and resources. Yes, Manisha, we spend time on opportunity cost. We spoke about inertia. We spoke about the fact that not all wandering is welcome. We spoke about that. And we also spoke about the fact that being lost is not a great thing. Just because you are wandering doesn't mean that being lost is a great thing. It is not. If you are truly lost, and if the map of the world that you follow, and again, what I'm quoting Dr. Jordan Peterson right now. Dr. Jordan Peterson said in one of the videos, I remember in one of the lectures he was giving at the University of Toronto, he said that if you have a map of reality, suppose you have a map of where your career is going, suppose you have a map of reality about how the world works, suppose you have a map of reality of how to clear the UPSC exam, you have a map in your head, you have a framework in your head, and if that map is wrong, you may find yourself in a place you don't want to be. If the map is wrong, you may find yourself in a place where you do not want to be. So maps are important, and being lost is not a great thing to have at all times. That negative counter argument is what I mean by bad things. That is what I mean by bad things. Interesting, there are many interesting ways in this book as you go into the depth of it and how to identify what are these negative things. But in our case, yes, abhi you can mention definitely. Abhi saying hedonistic approach हम mention कर सकते हैं, definitely कर सकते हैं. भाई कौन कह रहा है? Who is saying? Who has the authority to say? Who has the license to say that curiosity is the only thing humans should do? We, after all, our lives may be meaningless. They may not be purposeful. Maybe the pursuit of pleasure is one of the things we are supposed to do. Maybe not everybody has to be so restless. Maybe not everybody needs to be wandering. While it may be good for most people, it may not be for everybody. And it may not be suitable for every situation. That stuff we write in bad things. That stuff we write in bad things. When you mentioned all of these different arguments, do you remember our conversations about ethical issues with regards to wandering? Do you remember हमने बात करी थी gene editing की? Somebody mentioned gene editing, then somebody mentioned artificial intelligence. I think I said that. वो चीजें हम यहाँ पे डाल सकते हैं bad things वाले cluster में. अच्छे concrete examples हैं वो. Those are good points to write over here. हम लिख सकते थे उनको, and it would have added a lot of weight, a lot of substance, a lot of maturity to the essay. आपने essay में आपने starting करी ऐसे, wandering is the element of human characteristic to explore the unknown, blah 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 blah. To be lost is to be purposeless. आपने बोला being lost is the price to be paid for fruitful wandering without the risk of being heard. We cannot, without the risk of being lost, we cannot hope to break new ground, whether in discoveries or science or self-exploration. फिर आप बोल रहे हो, now in the body of your essay, आप बोल रहे हो, although wandering is mostly correlated with fruitful discoveries, it is not always welcome, and there may be limitations to the wanderings that we should impose. An example is gene editing and the unregulated development of artificial intelligence, the consequences of which we do not yet understand fully. And as a matter of ethical obligation, it is incumbent upon us to calibrate as far as possible wandering which is useful versus wandering which may be dangerous. It is also true that wandering contains an inherent element of risk which may not be suitable for every person. It may not be possible for every person. For instance, it is not possible or feasible for anybody who has to fight for survival to explore career opportunities or to explore the world. Wandering comes at a price. Wandering is not free. Not everybody has the potential, has the resources to explore. ये जितनी भी बातें हैं, these counter arguments, which make the essay, which make the reader stop and pause and think, हाँ ये तो है. These are elements I did not think. There is a negative side to this argument. Not all who wander are lost is not a blanket good statement जिसको हम लेके assume कर सकते हैं कि हाँ ये बिल्कुल ठीक है and सारा का सारा essay we have written in support of it. No, not necessary. We have to present the other side. We will conclude in the positive side. But ये जो portion है, we can write it. You appreciate what I'm saying? On a similar note, good things is the positive side. Now with good things, when you start to write about good things, there you start to write about all the positive things. Here you talk about your Einstein. Here you talk about the Lord Buddha. Here you talk about how exploration and wandering leads to discoveries or self-exploration or careers, or why it is so important in life and how it builds about emotional intelligence, which is another thing we could have mentioned in the keywords. And you write all those things as to why the people who wander are not lost. You argue in favor of the essay topic. Okay. इंडियन थिंग्स, एज यू कम टू इंडियन थिंग्स, ये हर टॉपिक में यूज नहीं होता है. Every essay topic may or may not have an Indian perspective. The essay topics which have it, here we can mention something or the other about them. Not every essay topic is important, necessarily has to have it. Coming to the should things portion, this portion about should things is basically, now you've mentioned to me, you told me that wandering and being lost are not great things always. Then you said that wandering can be fruitful and it is very important because of this reason. Now you are saying that if I agree with you and if I solve this conflict between wandering and being lost, how should that conflict be solved? How exactly? Yes, spirituality is not just Indian. राकेश, what makes you think कि spirituality का copyright है इंडिया के पास? Christians भी spiritual होते हैं. The people in the Amazon jungle are spiritual. Many of them consider themselves to be deeply spiritual. हमारी spirituality is a universal idea. It has got nothing to do with India. Although we have had a rich culture, a rich heritage, and a rich history with regards to spirituality, but बहुत spirituality is a universal word. बिल्कुल भी nation specific नहीं है. Should things is obviously how do you resolve the conflict. India is famous for it, but it doesn't mean that we are the ones who can claim sovereignty on that idea. Even tribals are sometimes spiritual. What is your example, Gitika? What have you mentioned? But whatever it is, you understand what I'm saying. Indian things जरूरी नहीं है हर ऐसे में fit हो. जिन essays में fit होता है, उनमें बहुत अच्छा होता है, and it adds an element of relevance to your essay. But this is not necessary. Indian things is not the necessary block. I think the necessary block is should things always. ये good things और bad things में भी changes हो सकते हैं. But excuse me just a moment. Excuse me just one moment. I need to take this call. Might be something super important. So today I had a bit of a scary experience with somebody. Yeah, thank you. And sorry for the interruption. That I could not have avoided that call. It could have been something very urgent, but it was not. अच्छा, सो एक चीज इंटरेस्टिंग मुझे बतानी चाहिए वैसे आपको इंडियन पर्सपेक्टिव के बारे में. ये जितने भी ब्लॉक्स हैं ना, ऑल दीज फ्रेमवर्क्स, हर किसी ब्लॉक और फ्रेमवर्क के आई क्रिएटेड चीट कोड्स ऑफ एवरी ब्लॉक, एवरी दिस थिंग. इंडियन थिंग का चीट कोड आई विल टेल यू. इंडियन थिंग का चीट कोड है ये. वी women, environment, weaker sections, equality, single equality, or what? This is the framework. Economic growth. This is the framework. Now, if suppose we want to connect, I don't think बहुत ज़्यादा organic linkage है इस topic की. I don't think बहुत organic linkage इस topic की है Indian thing से. But क्या कुछ connections बनते हैं? This wandering and being lost. How do you think it is connected to the female perspective, to the feminist perspective? Is there a feminist point of view there? Tell me this. I mean, all those who wander are lost is great, and we have the right to education, which is universal, and we have everywhere the impetus to bring women into the forefront. But at the same time, do you think that women can explore the world exactly like men can? Do you think their exploration experience is similar to what the exploration experience of men is in this world? Do you think that their wanderings are as easily facilitated as the wanderings of men? You think in Delhi or a place like Delhi NCR, a woman can, without any anxiety or without any fear of her safety or her dignity, she can walk out at night and she can explore and she can wander like that? Do you think that's possible for her? I mean, it may be possible for rare, exceptional people, but no. Yes, it is not. You may, Vanshika, that is the fact of the matter. The world is not the safest and best place for women. I think more or less in India, we have a long way to go, but there's still a lot of gap. Even internationally, women do not explore the universe, the world the way men do. अभी बोलने में तो सब कुछ अच्छा लगता है ये, or not all those who wander are lost. But that opportunity is not given to everybody. So there's also that element. Again, I must mention, मैं फिर से बहुत जरूरी है emphasize कर रहा हूँ, I'm having this discussion about this, but ये इस ऐसे टॉपिक में शायद डालने वाला पॉइंट नहीं है. This may not be a great point to add in this essay, क्योंकि हम एक जनरल फ्रेमवर्क डिस्कस कर रहे हैं, because we are discussing a general framework, तो इसलिए I am talking about it. ये वाला पॉइंट बहुत अच्छा फिट नहीं होता है इस ऐसे टॉपिक में, but we should appreciate the framework as of now. The essay topic is less important, the framework is more important. Framework is saying, when you talk about Indian things, the cheat code that can help us, the cheat code that helps us is VV. Women, environment, weaker sections, economic growth. Let me give you a different example. Technology cannot replace manpower. That is the example I think mentioned in the book also. Technology cannot replace manpower. Can I link that topic to women? Technology cannot replace manpower. Can I link it to the social issues which women face? Do you think I can link it to the environment? Do you think I could link it to weaker sections? Do you think I could link the technology and automation and the employment debate to weaker sections? It's directly applicable, right? Direct. You could talk about universal basic income, you could talk about automation, you could talk about how it may increase unemployment, how may decrease it, how weaker sections will be even they'll be even at a higher disadvantage than they are now. You may talk about all of these things. And that again, that keyword, if you had that framework, it just automatically makes the connections. बस connections बन जाते हैं easily. और कोई चीज छूटती नहीं है और अच्छे points निकल के आ जाते हैं. That is the idea of it. This debate about technology and manpower की debate, do you think I can link it with economic growth? I think it's a organic linkage, perfect linkage. Economic growth के साथ मैं link कर सकता हूँ उसको. Obviously, I can do it. I mean, of course, I could talk about sustainable development. I could talk about the fact that economic disparity may increase substantially if people start to lose jobs because of automation. Also, I could talk about the fact that maybe automation and technology puts us at a higher level of economic growth. But the people who are not digitally literate, I could talk about digital literacy here. The people who are not digitally literate will not have that advantage. And they will be the ones who will not be able to jump onto that bandwagon of economic prosperity that automation can unleash. कनेक्ट हो गया ये इंडियन पर्सपेक्टिव से. इंडियन क्या यूनिवर्सल पर्सपेक्टिव्स हैं ये, बट कनेक्शन क्लियर बन जाता है. Another, there are many frameworks. Now we will not get into again every single framework. Should things also has multiple frameworks. Should things also has a cheat code. Should things has a cheat code called plight. This I will write it down for you. This is the framework for should things. Also, I will try to give you a visual representation of what this framework looks like. There you go. This is should things, by the way. Should things, suggestions. It's a framework again, another cheat code, another framework. You are writing an essay. You know you should talk about suggestions. It is not clear क्या suggestions use हो सकते हैं और एक framework दिमाग में आता है. That framework may help us generate some points. This is that framework. In most essay topics, you will find some or the other of these keywords. This abbreviation will fit, and it will give you virtually almost universal solutions to many of the essay topics or many of the debates which are being spoken about. Suppose that debate is between science and spirituality. Suppose that debate is between technology and manpower. Suppose it is about economic growth versus sustainable development, right? Suppose it is about safety versus exploration, like we were discussing. Do you think I can link any of these suggestions with, I could use any of these ideas as suggestions and maybe trigger some of my thoughts? Do you think I could link it with inclusiveness? Do you think I could link it with environment or technology or laws? How could I connect? How could I connect this idea of wandering and being lost with technology, for instance? Can you connect it? Let me ask you. Wandering, lost, this इस debate में technology का क्या role है? What would you say? Is there a connection there? We're just exploring. It's an extension of our brainstorming. I'm not saying we should necessarily write this. Again, I'm trying to focus on the framework more than the essay topic right now. AI तो हाँ, but what is the connection? Darshini, exactly what? हमारी debate चल रही है wandering के बारे में, being lost. Wandering होनी चाहिए, नहीं होनी चाहिए, कितना lost होना चाहिए, अच्छा है, बुरा है. What does that have to do with technology, and how can technology help as a solution? Very nice, Divyanshi. I like that one. You've chosen something, you've chosen to use technology as something that needs to be controlled. But I want you to use it as a solution. See if you can find that connection. You've used it as a problem. ये जो आपकी statement है, Divyanshi, I would have put that in bad things as an argument against unfettered wandering. But right now, I want to see if I can use it as a suggestion somehow, as a solution to this debate. ये जो debate है wandering की और conservative approach की, इसमें क्या technology का कुछ है क्या? Is there anything? Maybe there isn't. Let's see if you can find out something. Very good, Tarnpreet. But solution. हाँ, Kiran, that is, of course, that is a problem. That is a problem. But technology इस debate को कैसे solve कर सकता है? Can it help us? हाँ, Rahul, robots in workplace, you are close. You are close there. My question is, हमारी जो debate है about exploration versus conservation, conservative approach versus not taking risks, how can technology help in this? Abhi, I just used a word not too long ago which really hits the bullseye in this thing. Use a supercomputer, solution of problems. Or UPSC path, strategize it for UPSC path. So that's very nice of you to say, Naru. But वो curiosity वाली solution नहीं देता हमको. That's a good suggestion, Kiran. I like that. You're right. This is good. So now I understand, Naru, what you are saying by strategizer for UPSC path. Got it. Now I understand what you are saying. So we get lost. आप ये कह रहे हो कि that we get lost and technology can help streamline us. Perfect. Agreed. We can use that. Productivity tools, technology helps us in that. Now I understand what you were saying. I actually didn't appreciate it when you were saying it. आपने कहा जब हम YouTube पे जाते हैं, we get lost in all the exploration and all the wandering and we don't know how to filter it. And technology can help in that. तो हाँ, completely agreed. Okay, let me ask you a modified question. आपने जो questions, ये जो these solutions, these suggestions you've given me, technology-based suggestions for this essay topic, they pertain to the individual. They pertain to the individual at a society level. Society level पे exploration versus curiosity वाली debate technology कैसे help कर सकती है? Digital payment methods. You have to explain this, Shweta. What do you mean by this, and how do you connect it to our essay topic in debate? Our essay topic in debate is about wandering versus not wandering, versus being lost. So more defense. नहीं, society level पे you have connected it. आपने बहुत अच्छे से connect कर दिया उसको individual level पे. I completely agree. Productivity tools, personality profiles, technology as an enabler, as a filter. Granted. Jan Dhan Aadhaar, ठीक है नितिश. Taranpreet, good, I like it. Work oriented. But you see, I will give you a hint. I will give you more than a hint. I will give you more than a hint. Universal basic income. This is your hint. Universal basic income is a hint. Is a hint. How do you connect? What is the linkages? How can technology be a solution? Financial inclusion. I agree, Mehak. I agree. Yeah. What happens? What happens? Exploration कैसे बढ़ेगी? Neha, I agree with your point. You're very close. Almost there. Maybe you are there, not using the correct words exactly. अच्छा, let me give it a shot. Let me try. मैं एक बार try करता हूँ. In my opinion, what technology can do, it can automate. It can automate and it can minimize the requirement for manual labor. Once it does that, it leaves people free to explore their potential. That is the basic argument for universal basic income. यूनिवर्सल बेसिक इनकम टाइप के आइडिया में ये बहुत बड़ी डिबेट चली थी कि अगर सब लोगों को एक बेसिक इनकम मिल जाएगी, then what will people do? Will they waste their time? Will they waste their time or will they improve things? Will they go on explorations? What will happen there? And the biggest argument is people will not waste their time. If you give them universal basic income, they will explore ways to express themselves creatively. They will explore ways to achieve their potential. That is one of the key factors which makes technology a potential solution for this debate. Do you agree with that? Do you agree with that? Technology say we can free up survival needs of people. That can help them do fruitful exploration, and that can buffer the risk of unfettered this thing. That may be one of the solutions. One of the solutions. कैश फ्लो इज क्रिएटेड. हाँ, बट इतने डेप्थ में जाने की जरूरत नहीं है क्योंकि वी नीड टू हैव एब्स्ट्रैक्ट कॉन्वर्सेशन आल्सो. हमने इंडिविजुअल तो कवर कर ही लिया है. मनी मेकिंग थ्रू कंटेंट क्रिएशन, यस, इट इज बिकमिंग डेमोक्रेटाइज्ड. टेक्नोलॉजी हैज मेड एक्सप्लोरेशन easier. Now with everybody having the potential to become a content creator, it has made it possible for people to have fruitful exploration which are not available before. It definitely opened up avenues. It definitely has done that. No doubt about it. Ishita, it may make them lazy, but we don't know if it will make them lazy or not. It may make some of them lazy, but it may trigger something entirely different. Imagine this, Yamini, imagine this, Ishita. इतने सारे लोग हैं, all these people and all this potential, कितने लोग एक्चुअली में अपना पोटेंशियल इस वॉन्डरिंग के थ्रू एक्सप्लोर कर पाते हैं? आपने कितना करा है? और हम लोग तो प्रिविलेज्ड हैं. द पीपल हियर इन दिस क्लासरूम, इन दिस सेशन, हम तो प्रिविलेज कैटेगरी के लोग हैं. हमने कितना एक्सप्लोर किया है अपने आप को? तो जिन लोगों के पास वो बेसिक सपोर्ट ही नहीं है, जिनको टेक्नोलॉजी का आइडिया ही नहीं है, अभी हम इतना हेवीली यूज कर रहे हैं टेक्नोलॉजी को. वी आर यूजिंग technology so heavily. Just in this session, you notice how we are able to use it, to what extent it is coming to our rescue. अगर ये है ही नहीं, if it doesn't lend us any power, or a person who doesn't even have the access, वो कहाँ है? They're not even in the race. They're not even in this whole debate. So they will be excluded from the growth process. ये एक perspective. This is it's just a tangent. सिर्फ tangent है एक. Dark web users will arise. No, तो चलो, that will be seen in ultimate resource. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not the Harvard ethics course. This is the ultimate resource, which I have really not yet revealed, by the way, अभी तक. So what I did for the past 2 years, I have been conducting something called the Mains Supergroup Initiative. When students clear prelims, every year I give them free guidance. I check their answers, I go through their essays, and I give verbal voice note based evaluations. I read an essay, I think about it, I record a voice note, I give it to them. That I am only able to do after they clear prelims because number limited hota hai. It is not possible for voice notes for every essay. Zahir si baat hai. I must have checked about 150 से ज्यादा ही होंगे, 200-300 essays होंगे शायद उसमें, 200-300 essays. And these people are all people who are writing mains or have written mains. The entire catalog of the past 2 years, about 100 or 150 voice notes, my own personal voice notes, written by all the students who have appeared in mains, my mentees, about 250 of them, is being catalogued, is being taken, is being put, will be made available. I must emphasize, ज्योति शर्मा, कलाई, किरण, मिताली, ये वॉइस इवैल्यूएशन मैं अभी नहीं कर सकता हूं सबके लिए. ये तब करता हूं मैं जब प्रीलिम्स क्लियर हो जाता है, सुपर ग्रुप बन जाता है, लिमिटेड लोग होते हैं, तभी मैं कर पाता हूं, बिकॉज ये ह्यूमनली पॉसिबल नहीं है. बट ये जो these 200 evaluations की जो ये जो लाइब्रेरी बन गई है, this library, it covers pretty much any essay topic you think about, because those students, they have been writing, these essays from various coaching institutes test series. कोई भी क्वेश्चन उसमें वो पूछ लेते हैं, कुछ भी, कोई फॉरेस्ट के ऊपर, कोई किसी के ऊपर, कोई किसी के ऊपर. तो इतने सारे ऐसे टॉपिक उसमें कवर हो गए हैं, अब उनको कभी कंपाइल नहीं करा गया है. So somebody from the textbook team will help me in compiling them in one place. सारे के सारे essay, you will be able to read the essay. उस essay के against क्या evaluation हुई है, मैंने क्या बोला, मैंने क्यों बोला. I have commented upon the structuring, I will comment upon the expression, I will comment upon the content. This is what I do with every voice note evaluation. You will have access to that whole library. That's just one of the things. It's just a surprise thing which I wanted to reveal later. You will be getting that. And with that, I am now sufficiently tired, and I would like to close the session. The first session we had, I don't know how you liked it. I had fun with it. मुझे तो बहुत मजा आया. Did you enjoy it? Did we get somewhere? Did we have some conversations? Did we learn a few things? Did it give you a mental break, even while it was hopefully making you churn your brain more further? I don't know. That's the idea. I want you to come to this class, have a break, and get smarter in the process. I will not load you with content. That is the type of session we'll have, and we'll have this. We'll discuss very hard, very abstract, very difficult topics in this format. That's what we'll do. You have the frameworks. Now, अब आपको क्या करना है? आपको ये frameworks करने हैं. You must do the frameworks. I will touch upon them again. But I want you to learn these frameworks. Very soon, I'm going to ask you to write an essay based on these frameworks. Not immediately. Right now you take your time, you go through those videos, you go through this book. That's your job. That's your homework. We'll start writing no urgency. If somebody is actually at a level where you are at a sufficiently advanced level, you're a good writer, then you start writing. आप writing start करो. अगर आप बहुत अच्छे level पे हो, अगर आप अभी basic level पे हो, beginner level पे हो, then you go along slightly. I don't mind if you skip ahead. Really, I don't really want everybody to have the same strategy because everybody is a different level. You know. हाँ संजीव, दिस इज द वॉन्डरिंग द स्टार्ट हुई है, बट ऑलवेज स्ट्रक्चर्ड वॉन्डरिंग्स. हम कभी रैंडम वॉन्डरिंग नहीं करते हैं. हमारी वॉन्डरिंग में फ्रेमवर्क होते हैं. ये पूरी की पूरी प्रेजेंटेशन, ये सारी की सारी स्लाइड्स, ये सारी की सारी एक्सरसाइजेज, ये फ्रेमवर्क है. These are all frameworks. I didn't. This book is full of frameworks. We experienced a few frameworks. Now you will learn a few more, and that will enrich you. And of course, we'll keep having many of these conversations. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being so patient, for being so nice. After having done this session, I think we have a phenomenal crowd. Our crowd, the people here in this group, in this classroom, this cohort is fantastic. I think it will get us a lot of traction because हमारी collective intelligence भी तो है ना. We have a collective intelligence which we can harness, which we will do in the ensuing sessions. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. I will see you very soon in the next session and we'll continue our conversations. No, Uzma, अभी कोई task assignment नहीं है. I want you to go over this book. मेरा टास्क असाइनमेंट यही है अभी इस हफ्ते के लिए. फर्स्ट सेशन, फर्स्ट वीक, फर्स्ट इंट्रोडक्शन, फर्स्ट लेवल. अभी वी आर एट द फर्स्ट लेवल. Go through the cheat book framework, 𝐿GO framework. Go through the lectures of the 𝐿GO, the short lectures, 5-5 10 minute वाले जो short lectures हैं. That's all. Next session we'll start to do more writing. Thank you very much. Good night and I'll see you soon.